Good evening, everybody. It's Anton from Next Place. Again, I'm sorry it's Friday and here again, but as long as you keep sending me questions, I'm going to keep trying to answer them. So this week it's a bit of a biggie and it's a bit of a minefield that people have asked. That's including my own staff. I've learned something this week on this topic as well, and that's all about freehold, leasehold and service charges. So I'm going to crack straight on because this is a huge topic. I'm still going to try and keep it to 5 minutes or less so that you're not uber bored, but this is a really interesting topic and there's a lot about it. So we're going to start off with freehold. So the most common types of tenure on properties are leasehold and freehold. There are some unusual ones, common hold and flying freehold. I'm going to cover flying freehold really quickly in a minute, but most are freehold. So I've printed out a title plan of a property. So you see that red line there around that that number 47. That basically means that's that plot. So you can also see where the number 47 is. That's the house. So with a freehold, whoever owns the freehold, if you like. So if you buy a house that's a freehold on that plot, then you own the land and that house. Now with leasehold, you don't own the land, but you own the house. Okay, so essentially what happens is when you get to 0 years on the lease, the person that owns the land will then own the house. That's the theory behind it. So basically you really want to be freehold, not leasehold. However, there are a couple of catches. So leasehold is an unusual one. So if you go, so I'm talking specifically about Tamworth now to Tamworth people. So I'm sorry if you're not in the area. But if you live or know Lakeside, opposite Glasgow as an example, or Brambling or Curlew or somewhere like that in Wilnecote that were built in the 70s, then they were generally leasehold properties with 99 years left on the lease. So if they're built in 1970, the lease runs out in 2069. So as of today, that would give it 45 years left on the lease, I guess. So that's just how it was. That was one of those things. And I remember when I was looking to buy a house, my mum and wife said, don't buy leasehold, buy freehold. But I just want to put to bed a couple of myths. So it's not a problem buying a leasehold property at all. The only problem becomes is, and I'm talking specifically about houses here, the only problem becomes is when they get to less than 70 years left on the lease, they become a bit of an issue to have a mortgage. Each mortgage company, let's take Halifax as an example, wants X amount of years left at the end of the mortgage term, otherwise they won't provide you with a mortgage. So there's a couple of things that you can do. Number one is you can extend the lease. So you can take it, so let's just use that Lakeside house as the example. You could take it from 45 years and pay to extend the lease to either 99 or 125 generally. There are some that will allow you to extend it by 99 years, so it will give you 139 left. So they're the options. So you can extend it, or you can buy it. So there is something called the Leasehold Reform Act. So if you currently have a property that's a leasehold, that you want to make it a freehold, there's a couple of things that you can do. You have to write to the freeholder. Sometimes they charge you for that, for writing to them and providing you with a lease to buy it. So you can write to them and request an amount, or if you're looking to sell, then you'll need to do what's called a freehold on completion. So let's say the freehold to buy is £7,000 for argument's sake. Then let's say you sell for 100,000. I'm just making up numbers here. You sell for 100,000 as a freehold property or an extended lease. On completion of the sale, you're taking 100. The solicitor pays 7 to the lease company, pays off all your other bits and bobs, and that's called doing it on completion of the sale. So you don't have to fork the money out at front. You do it on completion of the sale. So that's really quickly. Freehold, you own everything that the property's on. Leasehold, house, is you don't own the land, but you own the house. So that's some really key things. The other thing to quickly cover is flying freehold. So if you imagine, so I'm talking about older style properties here where some of them have so you've got one house here, and an alley going through the middle, that if you knock this house down here, that one would topple over. Essentially that's a description of flying freehold, that it can't stand on its own, if you like, so it's reliant on something else. So flying freehold is quite common on older properties where the house on the left, for example, might own the front half of the alley, the one on the right owns the back half of the alley. That's called a flying freehold. Now to add some other bits into that is if we take some of the new build estates now. So let's take the estate behind Morrison's, Marlborough Park, as I call it. Then a lot of the properties on there. So there are some leasehold properties on there, right? Those leasehold properties that were built by Morris Homes. So there's Bloor on the right, Morris Homes on the left. The Morris Homes started with 999 years left on the lease. I think it's £250 a month, a year, sorry, ground rent. That's not an issue. So when my mum said don't buy freehold, buy leasehold, they were only doing 99 years then. 999 years, the house is going to have fallen over, or you're going to be long in the ground by the time that becomes an issue. So for houses on there, 999 years, they're down to 990 now because of how old they are. Then that's not going to be a problem. You're just going to have to pay the £250 a year. Now on the other side of the estate, the freehold side, then there are freehold houses that also have a service charge. And that service charge is, I think there it's £250 actually. That's to cover all of the communal areas on there. So you also get it on sort of Dexter Way for the one-bedroom properties up at that are on there. The quadrant houses, they're about £50 a month. So there are some freehold exceptions where you do have to pay a service charge. So that's really quickly freehold, leasehold, and flying freehold. Now, the other things that you need to consider, so this is where I've learned quite a bit this week, is on apartments. So if you imagine your house, then it's probably got 2 or 3 levels. If there are 2 or 3 flats in that, then who's going to own the freehold? Normally a company. So each flat owner would pay a service charge for the communal areas like electric, carpets, window cleaning, buildings insurance, the roof, all those kinds of things. And you'll probably find there somewhere between £1,200 and £2,000 a year for the service charges to cover all those things. Now you also have to pay a ground rent. So that's the same as a leasehold house where you have to pay essentially you're renting the land that the property sits on. So just if you've just tuned in, we're 8 minutes in. This is about freehold, leasehold and service charges. So if you want to watch back from the start, carry on. By the way, if anybody does have any other specific questions about that, please feel free to get in touch. So service charges, what we've found, so we'll take as an example the new apartments down by Wix's. So down on Valley Drive, the new estate down there at Wilnecote. So they're coming up to, God, how old are they now? 10, 15, 20 years old, something like that. And the service charges in some of those, what we're seeing is there's a problem with some of the service charges there, and specifically the ground rent, where it's in the contract where the ground rent can double and then double and then double and double, so it can become really expensive. But one of the things that we've found out this week is that mortgage companies don't like or essentially won't lend if the service charge is more than 0.1% of the value of the property. So that's probably the maximum where you'll get the most amount of lenders, up to 0.1%. If it gets up to 0.2, there's only a few lenders. Over that, then it's probably going to be a struggle. So if you're looking to sell an apartment down there soon, and we've got some experience with all those, we can probably give you some good insights of the things that you need to do before you sell, just because we've got a few properties going through there at the moment. So that's a really quick leasehold, freehold and service charges. Again, I'm trying not to bore you to absolute tears, so we've done 9 minutes now. But if you've got any other questions about freehold, leasehold, service charges, or if we haven't covered it, then please get in touch with me, Anton at next-place.co.uk. You can comment below wherever this video is. You can WhatsApp us via a number of our sites. But please get in touch. Thanks for watching again. James will be doing a market wrap video for the month of January, so stay tuned for that. Look out for a shed load of new instructions that we've got coming on. We've been trying to do coming soon videos for all of them, but hopefully not boring you too much. But any property related questions, queries, anything like that, please get in touch with us. Have a great Friday evening. Hopefully see you soon. Take care.